This has got to be one of the worst exhausts I've ever seen. It's all rusted, and I don't know what they thought that was doing, but that's a fail. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Hoopty's Rides and Reviews. This is part 5 of this Honda Shadow rebuild. Not so much a rebuild as we're just trying to make it go down the road. If you're new to the channel or this build, I've been trying to bring this bike back from my dad. He's 82 years old and he just wants to be able to ride it again. The yellow bike back there, the Goldwing, is kind of his dream bike. It's a 79 Goldwing, but that's on the back burner for right now. I'm trying to get this bike going first because this was his favorite bike, and being that he's so old, he has a bit of a hard time getting around on the big bike. So far on this bike, I've had to replace both master cylinders. I went with the front brake master cylinder just because I was getting the one for the clutch, so I just figured replace both of them would be a lot easier. I put a new slave cylinder for the clutch in, put new coils in, new wires, new plugs, new fuel pump, and I had to mess with the fuel relay a little bit, and I actually got it to work. Yeah, I was having trouble with the fuel cut relay, but after I got that sorted, I went through the carburetors and I had to go through them about 4 times. I'm not a carb guy. I just had to train myself and relearn a few things and go through the book and just redo it the right way. Set the carb floats just right and clean out the jets. They were a little bit clogged up. I also had to repaint this tank because a bird crapped on it and my dad never cleaned it. So that kind of rusted and ate right through the paint where the bird crapped on it. Yeah, completely ruined that. Let's go ahead and give her a little start. I just had it running so I don't have to choke it. So this bike is coming together. It wasn't running at all when I got it here, but now pretty much all that's left is tires, valve stems, in the exhaust. The exhaust on this bike is just completely ruined. I think I might try to save these old pipes. You can see all these marks right here. This is from my dad melting his boot on this thing. That's what he told me. But these clamps, these kind of old style clamps, they actually have holes right here in the back. So these really weren't doing anything. I don't know what they thought they were doing with this. Actually, I think my dad might have put that on there. But we're gonna go ahead and remove this, take the screw off this clamp, and take this little whatever that is back off of there, and try to maybe either cut this or weld a new piece on, try to find a new coupling to replace this if we can. If not, I think I might just weld on a little straight pipe and have to rejet the carbs. I don't know what they thought this thing was doing. Totally leaking. It was just sitting there. Alright then. Alright, we got that off of there. It's just got a little groove back there, a little bracket. And it looks like this thing just snapped right off. You can kind of see that groove right there. And there's a piece down inside of there. I think it just snapped the end of that thing off. So I might have to just cut this out, pull it out, and then weld a new piece onto there. Another day, another dollar. I've got this pipe all painted up. I went ahead and put some of that header paint on, VHT high temp paint. And I got this fit in here. I'm gonna go ahead and try to throw this thing on there. And I was looking at this thing. I think this is actually an aftermarket pipe that somebody installed at some point. And the reason for that is I was looking at the book over here, and you can see how that thing kind of just angles up. And that kind of matches up because when this kickstand is up, this pipe kind of runs right into this thing. I might just remove that thing there, go ahead and let them run straight out. Let's knock that thing over. Basically, I just sanded this thing down until it looked semi-decent, and I didn't really take the chrome off of it everywhere. I got as much as I could with some really rough sandpaper, but I think I had it really scuffed up, and I'm really not too concerned about it. If some of it chips off, I mean, like I said, this is a super budget build, and we're kind of under a time constraint trying to get this together for my dad. I mean, I'm gonna ride a little bit too, you know. So we just gotta take this thing off. Looks like it's 2 bolts. Another one under there. Alright, got that off. Kinda excited to see what it looks like up in there. I'm gonna have to cut a light on. Not the worst I've seen. Spray something in there, clean all that up. Well, good news is it looks like I can get this guard off of here to get that wrap all the way up on this header. But maybe not. It's supposed to be square. So I just cut it off with a cut-off wheel. Got me 2 identical pieces. I'm pretty sure that other side's going to be rotted off as well, so I got 2 to go on there. This is the exhaust wrap that I got. I'll have to look for that later. It's just some black exhaust wrap. Put that on there, make it look a whole lot better. Alright, so I'm set up on the worst workbench ever. I got a little piece of wire to hang this thing when I get ready to paint it. I'm going to paint this thing whole black. And then I'm going to wrap it just to kind of keep it from rusting again. But here's my little doodad there I cut off. There's the other one for the other side. Weld that on there. Got my little gasless welder up there. Well, I am no welder, but she's on there. I ground that down to make it a little bit prettier. Wiped this thing down and scuffed it up with some heavy grit sandpaper, and now I'm going to go ahead and try to paint it. Probably going to regret this, but I got the absolute cheapest for all of this stuff on eBay. Looks a little frayed on the edges. I'm going to throw it in this dirty bucket. Spread all this out. Next day, the paint's all dry. I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping it up. Alright, so I've got her all wrapped up. This is my first ever header wrap, so please excuse the wobbly lines. I don't know what to do about all these fibers. Maybe those, you take a lighter to them or something? I don't know. I should have wore gloves. So I still got to weld the other side on there. I've got the piece ready to go. I've had it ready to go for like a month, but I just have not had time for this, and I smashed the camera on the other side of my phone. So I've just been going through a lot, and I need to try to focus on that, but I think I need to finish out this video real quick so I can get this bike back to running condition at least. So maybe we can take it to the shop or my dad's house, and we can put tires on it or the valve stems on it and get this thing out of here finally. It's looking pretty good on there with the new setup. I cannot wait to get the other side set up. But the main reason why I stopped working on it is I got really frustrated. When I put the left turn signal on, it would actually make the bike misfire on the front cylinder. Now I know that sounds crazy. I don't know if it's in the switch itself. I'm going to take it apart and rebuild it. I saw on Motorcycle MD, he rebuilt the switch, and he said it can cause kind of weird hiccups, and this does have a weird hiccup. You turn that signal on the left side, and it just doesn't do anything, and you have to wiggle the switch to get it to come back on. So I'm really hoping it's just shorting something out. I thought it was back here. I checked it, tested it. It's not. I rehooked that back up the way it's supposed to be, so I'm hoping that it's just a bad switch. So yeah, this thing, I just have to wiggle it sometimes, and it doesn't want to let the light come on unless you wiggle it and get it right into the right position. So I think there's something bad with the connection in here. So hopefully that will at least resolve the signal issue. Maybe not the shorting out the front cylinder. I don't know what's going on. So not 100% sure that'll solve my misfire issue, but at least that'll hopefully solve the turn signal issue. It just will not let that turn signal work properly. And as you can see, I could really use the space. I am just a little bit packed in here. I really like to get to working on this thing, but I gotta get these other two out of the way first. So I just gotta take all these screws out and slowly rebuild this thing. I'm not really gonna go into detail with this thing. If you need to check it out, go over to Motorcycle MD. He goes through it in detail. So this is what I basically ended up with, a hollow shell. I left the headlight switch alone. It didn't have a problem with that. The horn button I did notice was completely missing the plastic piece, but that's the surface where it contacts. You can see the little plates in there. I have to clean that up as well. But this is what I ended up with right here, this little guy. And careful, there's a spring in there, and there's the little plates. I'm just going to take this apart, clean it up, and get it back to new. Alright, so I scrubbed the living daylights out of these terminals. And the rest of the switch is all lightly greased and all put back together, clean. So I got that switch all back together, and it's pretty much working perfectly, except it didn't fix the problem, and the light still does the thing, and it's not fixed. So I'm just gonna keep going, and now I'm taking off the exhaust on the other side. Yeah, this bike has seen better days. I actually got one of those covers right there sitting by the shelf in the back. Oh, come on, gimme. This is just, I don't know what this is doing. So I got 2 light coats and then a medium to heavy coat. That's the way the instructions say on the VHT. We also got the muffler painted, and I've got a bucket of water right here ready to go. We got our wrap over here. We're just gonna throw that in the bucket, and then we're gonna start wrapping this little exhaust section here, and then we're gonna be done with both sections. Alright, so I've got the passenger side, right side exhaust wrap done and installed the header, but you know we gotta go ahead and do this startup with no muffler on there. So the shadow's back up and running. Still got that little bit of an issue with the turn signal. It's short somewhere. It's affecting the brake light as well. It's making the brake light flash like it's the turn signal. So I'm gonna get that sorted pretty soon here, but I'm really pretty much done with that bike. It runs really good. All I have to do is put one exhaust clamp on there, figure out what the little short is inside the wiring harness. So if you like this video, you want to help support the channel, please subscribe, hit me up in the comments. Next is the 1979 GL1000. We're going to be bringing that thing back. I've got the Randex carb kit. I have a single carb conversion that I bought before I knew about the Randex kit. And I've got a whole set of timing belts for it. So we're going to go through it, get it going again for my dad. And I think I'm going to ride that bike. But I might take that fairing off. I don't like that fairing. So till next time, guys, please subscribe, hit me up, deuces.